My name's Chris Hardin, and this is where it all began for me 38 years ago. When I was 4, we moved to this family farm, where my father continues to raise beef cattle to this day. My parents instilled in us about hard work, drive, and determination, and that we could do anything we wanted to do. It's the American dream. But that's one of the reasons that I'm running for U.S. Congress. That American dream doesn't exist right now for my daughters and future generations the way it did for me when I came along. I think that's a problem in this country that we have to address. We've taken the American dream away, and we need to be able to make future generations understand that they can do anything that they want to do.
Making choices that we can't take back.
When I was growing up, my dad taught me strong conservative values. He taught me to respect myself and to respect others. My dad's always pursued his dreams, and this is something he instilled in me. I know he's going to go to Washington, D.C. and do exactly what he says he's going to do, because that's just how my dad is. He's never given up on me, and I know he won't give up on the people.
I grew up in the Monticello United Church of Christ and spent most of my younger life there before switching churches later on. I have great memories of that church and the people in that church. It's where I first discovered God and accepted Him into my life. We as a nation have turned away from God, and we must turn back towards biblical conservative principles, and we must turn back towards the will of God, or it is not going to turn out well for this nation.
You see the hay behind me, and that represents that Chris Hardin is a young man who comes from a farming community here in Guilford County. And because of that, he is a man who has some strong roots. He understands community, he understands character, and he understands that his authority comes from outside of himself. He's a man who believes in God, and he's a man of faith. He understands that community is so important in caring and supporting one another, and that success in this day of equality and personal rights comes from character. And he's a man of character. God bless you, Chris Hardin.
I was very fortunate to be raised by a father who's a World War II veteran. My father served in the Navy as a CB. There's a reason that generation was called the greatest generation. They fought for freedom, prosperity, and liberty. We need to do everything we can as a nation to model what that generation did, not be steadily moving away from it. We cannot allow those soldiers that died for freedom and prosperity all around this world to have done it in vain. We must unite as a country, we must come together, and we must fight for our freedom and our liberty.
I've known Chris for a decade. We've served together in law enforcement. He was my zone partner, and we've rode together many nights. We've had long conversations, and what I liked about Chris and found that Chris was very dedicated. He was very loyal. He was very passionate about the things that he wants and the things that he does. I know when Chris goes to Congress and ends up in Washington, he's going to make great changes. Those dedications, those passions, they're going to shine through, and it's going to make a big change in Washington.
We as a country are in a mess. We have a spineless and inept Congress that will not stand up to this lawless president. They continue to fully fund everything he wants. They promise us one thing to get elected, but then they get there and they do something completely different. We cannot have leadership inside the Republican Party that stands with this president. If their vision is the same vision as the old Speaker of the House from the other party and the old Senate Majority Leader, there's not going to be a good outcome. We must make change and move forward in a conservative fashion.
I've known Chris for 42 years. I'm his older brother, and I'm also a small business owner. Washington, D.C. has changed over the years, and we need someone who will go to Washington and make a difference. I know Chris will go. I know he'll represent the people, he'll be for the people, and he'll help bring government back to what it needs to be for America.
We all know there's evil out there. We've got to take a stand.
We elected so-called conservatives to be the voice of the people and not a rubber stamp for this rogue president and his administration. I will sponsor and co-sponsor conservative legislation. I will be the voice of the people.
I know that Chris Hardin is the right person to represent the people. Chris is very strong and steadfast in his beliefs. He's not going to waver from, where he stands. He has very conservative values, and that was one of the first things that I noticed about Chris, and one of the things I really admired and respected about him was his conservative values. And I know he's not going to waver from that, so he is the right person to represent the people. He is going to actually go down to D.C. and he is going to do what he says he's going to do.
I'll keep my promises. I'll promote conservative legislation, and I will do my part to put a spine back in a Congress of cowards. We must send a representative to D.C. from this district that will stand with the people on conservative values every day on every single vote.
We're going to Rockland County High School. We've known Chris for a long time now. He does what he says he's going to do. He tells the truth, and we're very happy to have him run for Congress.
Moving forward, I have but three primary guiding lights: God, the United States Constitution, and the will of the people of this congressional district.
One nation over God.
I'm Chris Hardin. I'm a conservative, a veteran, and I proudly approve this message.